It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Please won't you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbor.
The film is It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Directed by Marielle Heller, it's the story of the profound and life-changing effect Mr. Rogers had on a jaded and cynical journalist named Lloyd Vogel. And it's inspired by Tom Junod's Esquire profile on Fred Rogers, which was part of an issue on Heroes that was published in 1998. The film stars Tom Hanks. The film stars a pretty incredible and incredibly believable Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers. And Matthew Rhys is the cynical journalist Lloyd Vogel. Also starring Susan Kelechi Watson and Chris Cooper.
This is a good film. There's no question about that, right? The acting is terrific. This is a good film. But the problem that I have is that this film is advertised as a biopic of Mr. Rogers, when in fact it's really not that at all.
It's not a biopic.
Right, but it's not, but that's how it's advertised. You see the picture of Mr. Rogers sitting in the front of his steps. It's all about Mr. Rogers, when in fact this film is really about the relationship and the experience that Lloyd had while he was interviewing Mr. Rogers for this article that he wrote. And because of that, I went into the film thinking I was going to see something, and then I came out of the film thinking, I didn't get that biopic. I know it's not about that now, but I didn't get that, and I'm a little lost into how I should feel about the film. It's a good film. It's just I'm a little lost because I thought it was going to be something else.
That's what I liked.
Well,
I liked
well,
being
there you have it.
surprised.
Yeah.
I like being surprised. I'm like, this is deep. This is deep. There is a lot going on here with emotions and feelings, and you know, Lloyd Vogel is trying to crack Mr. Rogers.
Right.
That's what I really liked about the film, and I think that a lot of the audience will find it really interesting because this journalist is like, okay, so who are you really? I mean, that's Mr. Rogers is your stage character, but what is Fred Rogers really
and
like?
You find out in this film, Mr. Rogers
one and the
is
same.
Mr. Rogers.
Right.
Exactly. And I want to go back to something you said about how well Tom Hanks falls into this role of Mr. Rogers. And I was doing some research, and I found out that
are you going to say what I was going to say?
Probably that Tom Hanks did an ancestry thing, right? And they found out that he is actually six cousins of Mr. Rogers.
Isn't that odd?
And now when you see that, you think, wow, I see that.
Isn't that
even before.
so strange?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And let's talk a little bit more about some of the acting. So let's just start first with Tom Hanks, because how can you not?
Yeah.
From the minute he comes on, boom,
See,
Mr.
I was
Rogers.
totally drawn in.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. And it's interesting to watch, because I know we did a Judy recently, a review Judy.
Right.
And I had a couple of problems with that. But in this film, no matter whether Tom Hanks was Mr. Rogers in a close-up or he was Mr. Rogers in a distance while he was filming, he was Mr. Rogers through the whole thing.
He didn't budge. He didn't sway.
Let's talk about Matthew Rhys. So I know him primarily
The Americans.
from The Americans. And also he started off in Brothers and Sisters with Sally Fields in a TV series a long time ago. And he really, my husband and I were talking about this the other day. Mm-hmm. He's really plays these characters very well. The inner turmoil, what should I be, who should I be, what can I be? He's really good at these roles.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
And then his wife, I can never, Susan.
Carrie Russell. Oh no, Susan Kelechi Watson.
She is, of course, from This Is Us, plays one of the mothers, or one of the wives in this series. Again, very good here, but
yeah.
I felt that even from when they were conflicting to when they were getting back together, I just didn't feel a good relationship there. I buy it, I just didn't feel it.
So Conrad, one of my favorite scenes was when Fred Rogers comes to New York, invites Lloyd to visit with him. They're going somewhere, they hop on the subway. I think school had just gotten out because there were a lot of young, mostly Black, Hispanic kids and adults kind of crowded into the train. Mr. Rogers just sitting there, Lloyd is standing there, and all of a sudden you start hearing, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood."
Hey, Mr. Rogers! It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Please won't you be my neighbor?
That was wonderful.
Everyone joins in, and this is documented. This really happened.
Look at the smile, because it makes you smile.
It really, really happened. I love it.
I love it. And speaking of things I loved the way the director in this film brought in the models for the set into the movie.
They actually filmed it at Fred Rogers' studio in Pittsburgh.
I love the various models. I love when the plane would take off and the plane would land.
Wasn't that
the
great?
cars.
And he's leaving New York on the bus, and it's the little bus track from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's so charming, just endearing. And these were actually, to the best of my knowledge, this was all from his original miniature set with a trolley, the plane, the buses. So that was really, really, I think it was clever, and then made it even more sort of believable, because it puts you in Mr. Rogers' world.
In his neighborhood.
Yeah,
right?
in his neighborhood. You're sort of meshed into it.
Speaking of the neighborhood, why don't we rate this?
Okay.
You want to go first?
Sure. All right. I had a lot of thought about this because I'm up there in wine glasses. You know what? I'm taking it a half a glass down from 5, only because of some of the family dynamics, which was a little bit too much at times. So 4.5 glasses of wine is what I'm giving A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
4.5 glasses.
I am.
All right. So let's see. I think I will give this 4 out of 5 popcorns. Yeah. It's good. There's just a few things wrong. This could have been a great film. Tom Hanks, we're going to see him Academy Award nomination.
Yeah, I believe that too.
All right.
I totally believe that too.
So the film is called
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor?